purposes, they fall under the Food and Drugs Authority. Okay, so we regulate that as well.
Okay.
And then you talk about clinical trials, which is part 8. That deals with if you want to conduct any clinical trials, okay, how it should be conducted, ethical clearances, and making sure that it is conducted in a manner that will not hurt consumers, or we get a proper reporting format on it, so that we can then say that yes, this clinical trial has been carried out properly. You recall the famous clinical trials that we're doing on Ebola?
Yes.
Yes, and then all the hula baloo that came with it. Yes, this is the Food and Drugs Authority's responsibility. But Part 7 deals with all other things, like the drugs, like the household chemical substances, cosmetics, and then food. And alcoholic beverages are regarded as food. Chewing gum is food. Water is food. And all the ingredients that go into the production of these things are considered as food. And we regulate it. When we talk about regulation, we are looking at the manufacture, we are looking at the sale of it, we are looking at the import of these commodities, we are looking at the export of it, the handling of these products in trade, in warehouses, the advertisement of these commodities, such that the consumer will be protected. And if you talk about advertisement, it is important in the sense that advertisement in itself can either make people use the product and use it badly. Okay, who's advertising it? What people say in the advertisement, okay, can all affect the health and safety of consumers. And so if you take the general principle of protecting consumers, or protecting the Ghanaian consumer, yes, then everything that is connected with it will have to be regulated properly, so that we can achieve the objective of the consumer's health being protected.
Well, thank you for that very detailed overview. So let's talk about advertising. We hear a lot of ads nowadays which end with, this advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. So these are ads that you have vetted and approved. Okay. First of all, this is a question I'm sure a lot of content producers would want to ask you. Why do you need to put that bit in ads?
Well, we've come this far, all because, in the past we're not doing it.
Yeah, so why
did we start? It's unfortunate that in some industries, or it's expected that industry will be self-regulating, in the sense that industry should see to it that what they do does not hurt the market, or what people say is the truth, is absolute truth. There's no lies, there are no ambiguities in the things that you're saying and all that. But we realize that we have tried as much as we could to get the industry to self-regulate. Mm-hmm. So we have a situation. I recall when, fortunately, I started the FDA office operations in the Western region, and I recall I had to drive to a radio station and stop a radio program because you have someone sitting behind the console and saying things as if every medicine that, for example, he was advertising, he has personally used them. Okay? And then you come into a situation where you're advertising a medicinal product, herbal product, and then you tell people, you ask a question about the company that is producing it and all that, and you tell the person, if you answer correctly, you get one of my package, the medicine or the product. And if you take medicine, for example, I don't need a medicine if I'm not sick. And so why are you telling people all these things? You have live presentations where somebody sits behind the console and then say so many things. It got to a point that if you take alcoholic beverage, for example, it was as if every Ghanaian, every man in Ghana is sexually weak. And all that you need to do to be able to be sexually active is to take bitters, for instance. And so we needed to clean up the industry. I recall we've had press releases we've invited members of the industry, the advertisers, and the radio stations and all that. It is unfortunate. One renowned, well-known radio presenter could tell us in the face that, for me, I'm looking for my money. And so if you do not clean it up yourself, when they bring the advertisement, I will say it and say the way I should say it. And it's awfully okay. If that's the one you want to go about it, the law gives us the right to come up with guidelines so that we can streamline how the industry should go by their practices in order to protect the Ghanaian consumer, so that you do not deceive people. Okay? I don't know how many Ghanaian men will tell you that after taking this alcoholic beverage, I've become sexually more active than I used to be.
Okay.
At the end of the day, when you even take too much of the alcohol, you end up sleeping in bed and then nothing happens to you.
But why do they need to? Okay, so airtime is expensive. Okay, a 30-second commercial will cost less than a 35-second commercial. If I have to add this advert is vetted and approved by the FDA, and it costs me extra 5 seconds, which is a lot of money in radio airtime, and then it becomes an extra burden on advertisers. I'm wondering why you cannot issue a communique to radio stations.
Now, we've done this in the past.
Play commercials which are not vetted and approved by the FDA.
Now, we've done this in the past.
Why do they have to buy airtime to advertise the FDA?
No, I said we've done this in the past.
Okay.
We've had interactions to the extent that we even arrested some radio presenters as a result of this. And so we've been pushed to the corner. And the only way we can actually get people to do what is right is what we have come up with.
Were they just arrested or you prosecuted them?
Well, I'm not part of the prosecution team, but I know they were arrested.
Okay.
Okay.
You haven't bothered to find out what became of them because.
Well, you see, when we arrest you, you are taken to a police station, and then we have a way, or you were taken to court, or some of the situations you want to, as it were, caution the person and let the person will go back and not do the wrong thing again. Okay. It is
my challenge really, okay. I'm asking you why it is in the advert. It sounds as if that advertisers are now burdened with advertising the FDA, because if I have to say in my ad that my ad is vetted by you, thereby advertising you.
No, you're not advertising that.
Extra money.
But the ad
how does it?
It shouldn't.
No, you're not advertising that.
Couldn't you just
regulate? It is a requirement on you to tell the public that. It's a requirement on you.
Okay.
We didn't say advertisers.
Okay.
You may look at it from that angle. It's a requirement, an incumbent on you to tell the public that this advertisement that I'm airing, the FDA has vetted it and approved it.
But my question,
giving assurance to the consumer that whatever you are saying in the advertisement is nothing but absolute truth, and that the use of the product is safe, is efficacious, and is of good quality. That is all that we are asking you to do.
I understand that, but I'm asking you why the FDA, with all of the power that it has under the law and with all the financial resources available to you, cannot regulate what goes on air with regards to food and drugs. But the advertiser is burdened with this. Can't you just regulate? So Joy FM, per this law, you are not permitted to play any advert that does not come with the FDA's approval.
No,
Simple.
we were doing that. We had several radio, media interactions, and we said before you took anyone's advertisement to play, make sure that that person, that applicant coming to you, came to you with a letter. That letter will have an embossment on it.
Yes.
This is what you should do. They were not doing it. The radio stations, the media houses.
So why don't you prosecute?
Rule.
Why don't you prosecute? Because here at Joy FM,
yes,
before we play any food or drug commercial, it has to come with that document.
You see, unfortunately, you're not the only player in the industry.
That it's played.
You're not the only player in the industry.
Yes.
There are thousands of your people. That's what I'm saying. What I said at the beginning, that if industry were self-regulating and the industry did what was right, there would really have been a need for these things
But
because we're not doing it in the past.
May I
The
ask
right
you,
to
Mr. Essel?
prosecute.
Yes.
The truth is that anybody at all can record a food jingle and say this advert has been vetted and approved by the
Unfortunately for you, I will tell you that we monitor the airwaves 24/7.
So if you are able to do
We're on
that,
social media
if you are able
and
to
we're
do
looking
that,
at all these things.
if you are able to do that,
Yes.
how are you not simply able to regulate these ads that play?
Let's see how this plays out in the next few years and see.
Because
regulation, let me say this.
it feels-
Regulation is very dynamic.
Yeah.
I get my point. The dynamism in the regulation is that today we're not doing this. Tomorrow we'll do it. Another 2-3 years we'll pull it out because we realize that we've sanitized the industry. The industry is now compliant and what have you. And so for now, it is a measure that we have put in place. Yes, we understand how it's biting because you have to spend some
expensive.
some time. Yes, and it's
All the time, sir.
we've brought this upon ourselves because we failed to do what was right.
But that's not the advertiser's responsibility. It's
But
the,
whose
It's the
responsibility?
media house's responsibility. But now the advertiser has to pay for 10 seconds. You and I know
Mm-hmm.
that if you have an ad you want to play on radio, first of all, when you write your script, it's about 5 minutes. You have to cut it and cut it and cut it until you get 1 minute. And for that 1 minute, it has to have all the information you need to put out and it has to be tight. But because of the FDA regulation, you have to further remove information which is vital to your ad from your ad so that
you
you
can make room
can say
for-
that this ad is vetted and approved by the FDA, which we know should be because the radio station is playing it.
yeah,
Anyway, you haven't answered my question.
I
But-
think I did, and I've tried to let your listeners understand
But-
why
but,
we are
yeah.
doing this. And it's all because,
But
like I
move
said, we have come this far as a result of industry not being self-regulatory.
May I ask you about the Advertisers Association of Ghana?
Mm.
Do you collaborate with them when it comes to these issues? The AAG, what role do they play?
Well, interestingly, we even have the Advertising Association. Is it Ghana Advertising Association?
Yes,
a rep
yeah.
on our vetting committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And so, and it's all part of the measures that we're trying to put in place to make sure that things are done right.
okay.
Otherwise, we are not under any obligation to invite anybody to be on our vetting committee.
So they agree?
Or they are on our vetting committee. Yes.
They agree?
Yes, they agree. They agree to what we're doing.
Okay.
And I believe, like I said, let us accept the fact that we are where we are because industry failed to comply. Not the radio stations themselves, but the advertisers themselves. I get to my point. Look, it got to a point, people were just saying anything, irrespective of who is listening. Okay? I remember very well when we came to this provision of when you can advertise alcoholic beverage and all that.
Time and all
The
that.
time, you know, it was also a tough thing. I am aware that media houses are complaining because these guys, you know, support, I mean, financially, you know, they pay
Ghana
a
is
lot.
hard.
Yeah. They pay a lot, I mean, to get their products advertised.
Yeah.
And they want us advertisement at certain times.
Yeah.
You see, let us agree that, or accept the fact that advertisement in itself can be educational, but if it is not controlled, can be very destructive. And alcoholic beverages is one that has to be properly regulated. If you go to countries like Russia, I schooled there, you don't even advertise alcoholic beverages at all. Why? Because that society has suffered a huge damage as a result of alcohol abuse. The whole president gets drunk, okay, gets to a military, you know, program, and they were playing music, and the president, he was supposed to just walk past them or picks the baton and then starts to conduct the band.
He was intoxicated.
Yes.
Wow.
That is how
That's
far and
quite
how
a sight.
damaging alcohol abuse
Wow.
can go.
Or was it their beaters?
No, they have vodka. And there's one they call samagon.
I see.
Okay, it's like a appetition, you know. But this one is done at home. If you don't do it well, you can kill. It can kill you. Samagon.
Okay. Well, we are interested today in the creative arts.
Yeah.
We're interested in event organizers and celebrities and the FDA regulations about what celebrities can endorse and cannot endorse, and the events that event organizers organize and the associate sponsorships that they get in order to put out these events. What's the FDA regulation on these things?
Okay, let me start with the celebrities.
Yes.
In fact, there's
Let's start with the
provision.
celebrity.
There's no provision in the guidelines for advertising alcoholic beverages that talks about celebrities. It talks about well-known persons. Okay? It doesn't mention celebrities.
Well-known
it talks
person.
about well-known persons.
What does it say?
If you will permit me, let me read.
Which act are you reading from?
I'm reading from the guidelines for advertisement of food.
It's backed by which act?
You see, now wants me to go. I'm not a lawyer.
we just
But you're
want,
pushing
we just
me
want
to-
to know exactly. I'm sorry,
No.
Judge Quay, you have it.
I think it's 1992. Almost
No.
all the activities.
No.
are by the 92
It's
PNC
not.
law 851 also.
There's nothing like that. It's the Public Health Act. Let's stick.
Oh, this one is in the Public Health.
Okay.
Let's stay with the Public Health Act.
All right.
And I'm reading Section 148, Part 7 of the Public Health Act, and it says, Section 1 or Section 148, Subsection 1. The authority may issue guidelines and codes of practices in connection with food and drugs and any other production or products or devices regulated by the authority to persons in the food and drugs industry, and the person shall comply with the guidelines and code of practice. So this provision says that we can develop guidelines. And so to guide the industry, we come up with guidelines
So may I
for the
ask-
advertisement of food.
The provision says you can formulate guidelines.
Yes.
And the guidelines are regulated by nothing.
Regulated by the FDA.
No.
We
Let me
write the
ask-
guidelines.
Let me ask the question again. The provision says you can formulate guidelines.
Yes.
So you can formulate any guidelines.
No, guidelines in relation to what the commodities that we regulate.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
go on.
So
You-
the
you-
industry players within that, let me say, enclave.
Okay.
Okay. Or the industry that we regulate will have to comply with these guidelines. And so we write guidelines with regards to importation of food. We write guidelines with regards to retail of food.
All right. So this
We write
guidelines you are going
guidelines-
to read now.
So these guidelines is in
related
relation
known
to
people,
advertisement of food. Okay.
by well-known people.
And it talks about there is a provision specification requirement for alcoholic beverages. That's in section 3.2 and 3.2.10. It says no well-known personality or professional shall be used in alcoholic beverage advertising.
Is this a new guideline?
All this has been there since 2016.
So it's new.
What informed
What
this
makes it
particular
new?
guideline?
Exactly.
What informed
That's
this
my
particular
question.
guideline?
Yes.
I mean,
What informs
May I-
that particular
yes.
that particular section
What's-
of the guideline?
why?
Okay. Who are well-known persons? You may have persons who may have followers.
They have influencers, basically.
Yeah, influencers.
Yeah. But can I say something?
If-
You said
if-
guidelines.
Yeah.
So from the very beginning, the
They're
fact
not
that it's a
enforceable.
guideline
They're not
is
enforceable.
this is what you would suggest. This is your recommendation. But it's not law, or am I wrong?
Once the law says you have a parent law that you're
Yeah.
referring to, the parent law says that you should develop these guidelines, and industry players are supposed to comply with the guidelines of the code of practice.
All right. Let's
I get one point.
let's
And so that settles
allow-
that settles
yes.
it.
But that should be.
No, that settles
All right,
it.
guys.
That should be
No, I just want
Guys,
to.
yes. Can we have one house? Can we just allow Mr. Essel to explain, and then when he's done, we can ask questions. All right.
I was trying to establish where we draw that powers from. Okay, and why you need, as industry player, who need to comply.
It's almost.
And when I'm
sounds-
referring to industry player, I'm referring to those industries that we regulate. Media houses, we don't regulate. Okay? And so our clients are not the media houses. Our clients are those who are manufacturing alcoholic beverages and who wants to advertise alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
And so now we are saying that persons who are well known have huge influence. And the influence that they carry, okay, affects society. We do not want a society where people are falling ill, young persons are getting drunk or getting hooked onto to alcoholic beverages. We know the ramifications of that. Okay, and so if let me use a very popular figure. Joe, can you mention a popular figure?
Abuaji.
Abuaji has been a media person. Okay, Naa Ashorkor, you are a well-known person, and then young people see you. I was just thinking aloud. Otofista. How did we come by Otofista? That dressing that we're calling Otofista. It was because of a sports personality, the way you used to dress. All of a sudden, something that was not known in the Ghanaian society. We see young persons dress like that, let down their pants, and you could see their underwears and what have you. Is that what we all want? Is that what society wanted? And how many people were condemning it? And so anything that has some social implications should be guided. And this is what we want to do. And this has medical or what do you call it? Health implications. Abuse of alcohol.
So,
okay. So largely, it is for social good that we say that in view of the fact that these well-known persons have this influence, let us take them off this realm of the business.
May I ask you?
Yes.
Are you saying that well-known persons should not advertise alcohol, or well-known persons should not promote the abuse of alcohol? What are you regulating? The advertisement of it or the abuse of it?
I'm just reading from the text. No well-known personality or professional shall be used in alcoholic beverage advertising,
irrespective of what they are saying in the ad.
You see,
because you can't have an alcoholic beverage ad.
I've had a situation.
May I just finish my question? You can have an alcoholic beverage ad which says something like this. This is orange alcohol. Orange alcohol is produced by Ghana, whatever. Do not drink orange alcohol if you're not 18 years old. If you drink too much orange alcohol, you are going to get intoxicated. It can make you sick. This can happen to you. That can happen to you. All the wrong things that can happen to you. And you must only drink orange alcohol with, if you're 18 years and above, and if you are this, that. Specific things that speak to the or the proper use of the alcohol, that speaks against the abuse of the alcohol, and actually promotes made in Ghana goods, which grows our economy, which is struggling. So
it's a beautiful argument.
Okay.
It's a beautiful argument. But at the end of the day, this same person is advertising the alcoholic beverage.
Let me ask you a question.
So irrespective of the good thing that you want to add on and all that,
you don't want alcoholic beverages to do well on the market?
We're not
because
saying
if
that.
You're saying that a well-known person advertising alcohol
makes
more people want to drink alcohol.
I told you.
Are you saying that?
I schooled in a community. I schooled in Russia, where alcohol is not advertised.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is any country in this world where people drink more vodka than Russians.
Okay. So
I get my point.
Let me
so it is not. It is not about.
Did any specific event happen to occasion this regulation? Because I'm confused. I mean, we've heard about the dangers of diabetes and sugar-related problems. In fact, Joy FM supports a sugar project. We have more people dying from. I stand to be corrected, but more people dying from diabetes than people dying from alcoholism. If you allow celebrities to advertise sugar water, I'm saying I stand to be corrected.
Yes.
But do you?
From
you say so? Do you?
Do I?
Do you have the figures?
Oh, you know we are an agency. We are an agency of the Ghana Health Service.
So do you?
Another Ministry of Health, and we have a direct relationship. We work directly with the hospitals and all that. Okay, and so we are privy to what is happening in the hospitals.
Okay.
If I tell you the number of young persons who are reporting in the hospitals now with liver and kidney problems as a result of abuse of alcohol, especially this strong alcoholic beverage, the bitters and the like, to the extent, and we are saying these things because of the concerns.
No, Mr. So is it more than, is there recorded cases more than recorded cases of diabetes patients
and sugar related
illnesses? Right, how many people? I mean,
we are comparing here just so she can continue.
What's the numbers? What's the numbers?
You asked her if she had.
I'm telling you the reported cases of young persons. We've seen an increase in numbers. We are seeing.
You've not seen that of diabetes, you mean? Like basically, that's what you're saying. You don't have that of diabetes.
You see, you have different disease conditions. Diabetes, you can have diabetes related to genetic.
Don't worry. I think we should continue.
Let me just finish.
We get to your message.
Yes.
You don't have it.
Okay.
It's okay.
So yes. So what I'm asking is really, if you encourage celebrities to continuously advertise, or you are not discouraging them from advertising soda, which has a lot of sugar, which causes a lot of illnesses, even high blood pressure, which is one of the biggest issues, medical conditions that a lot of our folks have. High blood pressure. There is energy drinks, which have all sorts of chemicals and substances which are injurious to our health. We have two of our biggest music acts advertising energy drinks. You don't discourage that, but you discourage the advertising of alcohol, which comes with a lot of regulations, like how old you have to be to drink it, like where you can go to get it, like what time of day is advertised. Now you are adding that known persons cannot advertise it. You are adding that in order for an event organizer to organize an event with an alcoholic beverage sponsor, they need your approval. Do you see where I'm going with this?
You see, let me ask you a question. Would you want a well-known person to advertise tobacco and then say all the good things about don't smoke and all that, even though they will say that go ahead and advertise tobacco? So we realize that in the case of tobacco, everybody knows what tobacco does, lung cancer and all these things that goes with it and all that. In the past, I've mentioned that there is dynamism with regulation. In the past, nobody thought anybody will pull tobacco advertisement from the airwaves, but now we've done it because of the evidence that we have, the cases that we are being reported, and then the disease conditions that are surfaced as a result of that. You pull it out all together. Now you have alcohol on the board. We are working on it. With energy drinks, yes. How many people is it that popular? How soon when did energy drink come onto the market? Okay. Our eyes are on the block. Let me put it that way. No. Our eyes are on the block. Okay? And once our eyes are on the block, if there is a need for us to do it, we will do it. Okay. Nobody will tell us when to do it.
Okay.
If we have to do it, we will do it. I just want us to understand this.
So you wait.
Okay? No, we are not waiting.
I'm not saying we should wait. Blog yet.
Okay? Our eyes are on the block. There is no need as at now, okay, for anybody to say that don't advertise energy drinks. But when there is the need for us to call it off the airwaves, we will do it if we have enough reasons why that should be done. And so nobody should think that because we are allowing advertisement of soda or energy drinks, and then we are pulling brakes or pulling alcoholic beverages off the air, it means that we are not helping the alcoholic beverages.
I want everybody else to ask questions, but can you just so you've spoken about the celebrity endorsements. Can you tell us about event organizers and why they need your approval in order to have sponsorship from alcoholic beverages? What guideline do you have in your handbook that talks about that?
Okay. Let me read section 3211, and then
before you read it, because like my partner, they've been trying to ask you, so I'm just going to start from George.
I was just sitting right behind you. I don't know whether
talk about celebrity because you see you are sitting on his money. The new Peters in town.
It's not me. It's Ghana. It's Ghana.
All right.
So let's
just go this way,
way,
and then we'll end with you.
Oh, you want to start shot us in front, eh?
Yeah. Because short men are in power.
You see? Oh yes, definitely. That's important. We're in power. Naa was spot on about the energy drink argument. And one important aspect of this alcohol beverage thing is even the support from parents at home and all that, all the guidance. In my house, how dare you, even if it's a beer, even if it's shandy 2%. 2%. You know, there's alcohol that's 2%. There's some that is even lower than that and all that. You know, you are coming to display it in front of who? In whose house? At Akwe's house. It's not going to happen.
Responsibility.
Exactly. So that one was there. But in that same house, if I were carrying, say, an energy drink, nobody would say anything. After all, it's okay. You understand? So that point is very, very key. For me, I have a question for him before I go on to my main point. Let us assume the FD or you woke up tomorrow morning and saw on Naa Ashorkor's Instagram, let's say one of these local beverages. Let's say Alomo, or let's say Adonko, or let's say Bukeke, let's say Wobete, you know, or whatever. And then Naa Ashorkor has poured it. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. I mean, this is how I like to take my Sunday. A shot of Alomo on ice just before I deal with my kinky and fish. What would you do? That's on Naa Ashorkor's personal Instagram, and she has done that. And you know.
Yeah, because
all right, we don't want to mention particular brands.
We don't want to mention particular brands.
Yeah, I see where Awaj is coming from.
Where is it coming from?
No, we've had practical situations like that.
Oh, have you?
Oh yes.
Tell us about
a personal party, okay, and then that's what eventually the person was trying to explain, that well, it was a party, and then and this is my favorite drink, and I decided to take it, and then but how do I know that what you're actually doing was not a paid thing? It is difficult for me to prove that you have not been paid, and you cannot also convince me that you have not been paid.
So what do you do?
It's on social media.
So what do you do?
I will interpret that to mean an advertisement of the product.
And what happens then?
I will take you on. Who? The manufacturer.
Why not the celebrity?
No, I have nothing. I don't regulate.
And that
one.
you see, for me, that
That's
is
a
where.
disconnect.
So it means in the same vein, if Sadiq produces Sadiq Gym Bitters,
Yes,
and Kwame Rasta produces Kwame Rasta Gym Bitters, so Sadiq can come and bribe me to display. Kwame Rasta can come and bribe me to display Sadiq Gym Bitters, knowing very well that the FDA will go after Sadiq.
listen, we will investigate.
No, you see how?
So how
No,
are
no,
you
no,
how
no,
is
Because
that?
in the same case, in the
You
same
will
thing that you just
investigate.
told me,
Like
You-
Ghana
you-
police kind of
I mean,
investigation.
you see, because
Proper
in the same,
investigation.
because even if you
He didn't
investigate,
say that, you know.
no, Kwame Rasta, even if you investigated, it would
Yeah.
come back to the same thing you narrated yourself, the scenario
Yeah.
that I gave you.
How
How
going
are you going to get to the bottom to know that
Oh.
it was how me? Am I going to say, give Kwame Rasta up and say Kwame Rasta has paid me $1 million Ghana cedis?
Well,
to give
whatever
Sadiq?
I have to do to ensure that the truth comes out, we'll have to do it.
And that is where I think
Like,
the
So are you able
FDA.
to take us through practically
no, let
how
me-
they
let me-
dealt with some of the issues like that?
No, it's straightforward because I have also been privy to some of that information that people were fined for things they didn't even know about.
No, they were telling
Because-
you that. They were telling you they didn't know
Okay.
about it. I get my See, boy, what you
George.
We've been in the industry, or we've been around for some time now. Regulation is very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and some of us are trained in our investigations. When people talk, and when somebody is lying, you can tell the person is lying. When you go to the police, I mean, when police are
It
investigating,
requires so much more to be able to
There are
identify.
so many innocent people in prison. Where is Seth Kwame Boateng? So many innocent
There's
people
so
in
much-
prison.
languishing in jail.
And some of them went to court and they were found guilty for things they did not
Okay,
do.
so I
well,
think-
but unfortunately,
let me just wrap up. For
Unfortunately,
me,
those that we have been able to, I mean,
Sanction.
find sanctioned, they themselves admitted.
We are
Because-
interested.
okay,
I think you're talking
they-
about
they-
Keke
they-
and Stonebwoy. Are you
they-
talking about
they-
Stonebwoy?
no,
that's even
Alright.
in
Now,
another
we
instance.
heard about
I heard about
Keke
that
and,
too.
Stonebwoy
Don't
and
do all
Go
things.
Keke.
Yeah.
I mean-
We are very
Let
interested.
me give. Let me
because
let me ask you.
scientific
Let me
way
say
of-
this.
How did you investigate?
Let
that
me say
matter?
this.
And
If
what
for
went into
example, is this Stonebwoy has a song with the expression
Bukeke in it, yeah.
Okay, how do we know that it wasn't the industry that paid him to write that music? There are certain times you have to give the benefit of the doubt to whoever is being accused of a wrongdoing, because you don't have the evidence. But where you have the evidence, you deal with it, and you deal with this decisively. Have we stopped? Did we punish Liberty Industries for
The song.
the song? No. Are you getting my point? Now, what we believe, or what people might be thinking, is that if that has gone through, and you see, people are very funny. Clandestinely, will somebody also pay somebody, or will somebody another musician out of the blues then decide to also play another song and then have another alcoholic beverage
Mentioned in
name
it.
appear in it and all that. What we are trying to let industry understand is that, look, we are getting to a point, if you're not very careful, and this is not the FDA, we need to understand that we live in a society. And regulation as it is also influenced by the outcries of society. That's why I said there is a lot of dynamism in regulation. Today, one person has sung a song with the name of a company, okay, that manufactures a regulated product appearing in it. Nobody will say anything. Then it happens the second time. It happens the third time. It happens the fourth time. Then it tells us that there is something happening in the industry. A regulatory decision will have to be taken about that. I'll give another example.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
If I do a song as a
Yes.
as a Ghanaian producer artist and I call it Hausa Coco, is that worse than Bukeke? Based on health and everything that you're talking about.
You see,
Yes
What
or
is-
no?
what
Just
is-
yes or no? Yes or no?
no, it's difficult for me to say just yes or no, give a yes or no answer. Let me explain. Because Pokeke,
Yeah.
okay, it's a name of an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
Hausa Coco, what is Hausa Coco?
Hausa
it's normal.
Coco is a porridge that
It's
you can
normal-
have
would
literally.
you- would you-
you
would
can
you-
have like
would
50
you have-
grams. You
would
can be standing there and put as much sugar as you possibly want at any age possible. A 5-year-old can buy it. A
Hausa Coco.
55. Yeah. There's no regulation on
But you
Hausa
can
Coco.
decide how much sugar you put in Hausa Coco. to
Yes,
drink.
no, but exactly. But what I'm saying is that.
And will you die?
Okay, let
Will
me
you
ask you-
suffer
no,
any liver
Are
disease
you
from
serious?
using
Are you
Hausa
serious?
Coco?
Any other
Right.
issue?
Listen to my point.
Yeah, let's-
If a 5-year-old goes to buy Hausa Coco in the morning,
Yes.
right? Nenum yenede, right?
Yeah.
The mama sent them to go and buy porridge.
Mm-hmm.
They can stand there and say,
Mama
"Oh,
Chichi
mpacho,
Bebe."
fakakrakahon," right? There's no regulation, is there?
But
Yes
is
or no, no,
Is
is that-
that a
listen.
practical situation that you will see?
very
A
practical situation.
child goes and then just add on. It doesn't happen.
Sir,
please.
sir,
It doesn't happen.
Sir,
No. It's an assumption.
It is a
This
far
is a
more-
clear
let me finish.
assumption.
Can
No,
I finish,
no, it doesn't
please?
happen that way.
Okay, can I just finish?
That's not the way we do it.
Can I
Let him
finish?
finish
point
his
is that
question. Let's
this
see
is
where he's
practical.
taking it.
Let me
Right.
finish my
Possible,
point.
yes.
It is a far more realistic situation than somebody advertising or mentioning an alcoholic brand which is constantly being regulated. That is less likely to have an effect on somebody than it is.
Unfortunately,
no,
you're wrong.
and that's fact.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. Unfortunately, you're wrong. Don't compare alcoholic beverage and cocoa. You're comparing apples and apples and oranges.
Sir, do you know
it doesn't
why,
happen that way?
Do you know why?
The
you are
difference is so
absolutely
vast.
wrong. Do you know
No,
why?
you
Absolutely
are wrong.
Because you
I'm not
can't
wrong.
start drinking alcohol till you're 18.
I
So already
understand
you've got 18
we
years.
are getting a
You've
situation
got an
where
18-year
people
gap.
who are
You've got an
12
18-year
years
gap.
Listen, go to our village.
Anybody can buy house
Go to our
and put
villages.
as much sugar as
Go
they
to our
want.
villages.
Okay.
They don't have. You don't have sugars in cocoa like you
Oh, you
have.
didn't finish.
The dangers
Okay.
that you
See,
associate with alcohol.
Very quickly, I'll wrap it up. We have very little
we have
time.
only 40 minutes to finish.
Yeah, very quickly, very quickly.
So, Judge.
For me, I think over the years the FDA has taken an abrasive position.
Okay.
And both industry and the celebrities or popular people, as they put it,
Well-known
are beginning to
persons.
feel well-known persons are beginning to feel the pinch, and it's a very unfriendly position because you come off as very hard-handed, very difficult, unreasonable. You don't want to hear anything. I like what you said.
he is very
Regulation
reasonable.
is malleable. Regulation changes as we go along. And I think instead of taking this abrasive position, you could actually use these well-known people to get your message out there. Because one other law that I heard that I thought was outrageous was no alcoholic beverage billboard within 200 meters of a school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm taking my kids to school, I don't fly. I drive through various places, and you see, it's a regular route. And I remember when I was growing up, I kept reading billboards as we
Yeah.
were going along. So if that billboard is it's not close enough to the school, it's 1,000 meters away from the school, but it's on my route. I see it. How do you fix that? I'm seeing it every morning. It's on my commute. Anyway, so how does that one even work? Don't put a billboard within 200 meters of a school. I don't fly to the school. When the kid is picked, they don't fly back home.
He's coming to explain. Maybe we'll blind.
So for me, my point is that I think the FDA can take a bit more friendly approach and work with these popular
Let him
people.
explain.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. He
Well,
has to explain.
there is a very good reason why all these things were put out there. the closer you are to the advertisement unit, okay, the more it sticks in your head. I get my point. And that is, Ghana is not the only country. Ghana is not the only country where we have regulation on alcoholic beverages. I understand you. We've come this far because of what we've seen happening. Tomorrow we may even say that alcoholic beverages should not be advertised altogether.
Yes.
Are you getting my point?
But condoms are still being advertised on daytime radio.
You see it. Let me
And
give you another
television.
example. Oh yes. I was in China,
Led by Ponce.
and I got to know that they don't even
One
advertise
Ponce.
sanitary pads between the hours of 6 and 7 p.m. because that is when people are taking their dinner. So they don't advertise sanitary pads. Why
Do they advertise tea rolls?
did they advertise you? They may, I don't know, but they don't. I laughed. I laughed when I got to know that they don't advertise sanitary pads between the hours of 6 p.m. 7 p.m. in China. I get my point. Why did they? There's influence of society. Okay, you have other association bodies and all that have made some inputs into the regulatory framework that we have now. We've gotten to where we are today. We didn't used to have these advertisements have been vetted and approved by the FDA. Let's see what happens as society evolves. You've made a very important point. Can we use these same well-known persons to now turn the thing
Push out a campaign, advocacy campaign.
But that's what they would do anyway.
No. But for now,
say, hey guys, go and get
I don't
drunk
think
and
we are
call us.
convinced.
When you're a kid, come
I
and
don't
do
think we are convinced. All the outcry that we are hearing is because of the money that they're not getting.
No, Mr. Essel, you see, it's beyond the monies.
No,
And the other
no,
time I was making
no.
a point. My argument was
Nobody
this:
has-
look at somebody like Funny Face. Funny Face has
Yes.
positioned himself as somebody who entertains kids.
Kids, yeah.
If I see Funny Face doing an alcoholic beverage advert, I'll
raise
slap
that
him with my
question.
left hand.
Why?
Because he's not supposed to.
said so?
Oh, thank you. I like where you're going.
No.
He
But
calls
I
himself-
like where you're
I'm picking
going.
it up from where you-
The point is
where
this.
you're coming from.
If the FDA tells me that we are taking Funny Face on, or we are taking brand A on, because they are an alcoholic beverage brand, and everybody knows Funny Face entertains children, and they are using Funny Face in their advert, I'll support you. But not Kwabna, who went into a studio and sang Feki, Fafam, Fabewoso adult music.
How about it?
I mean, so why can't somebody like Kwabna advertise an
Also,
alcoholic
unfortunately,
beverage?
Kwame music is not only listened to by adults.
No, but that's
That
to be
is the
a-
point I am
But
making.
here's the thing.
And if you're
That's the
saying
point.
that,
How about actors who engage in adult movies, and I mean specifically for adults? How about them? They don't do music, but their product or the things they feature
once
are
we
supposed to be watched
we
by
are able
adults.
to
They're supposed
identify
to-
you as a well-known person, once you identify as a well-known person, the law does not allow you to put yourself out there as an advertiser of such a
And your
commodity.
Look,
reason.
aren't you able to
Our
categorize
reason,
them?
our
Categorize
reason
them?
being that these people have following.
Even though
We are unable to
adult
tell-
movies.
No, you are talking about adult movies, and who says only adults watch adult movies?
So at what point does parental responsibility comes in?
No.
Yeah.
You see, you are not in every home. You are not in every home. You are not in every home. I get my point.
So
Excuse my
are
language.
you
This
going
this
to
this
regulate
lady,
parents,
this lady
alcoholic
that
parents?
no, this lady.
I mean, how
Regulate
are you
who?
alcoholic parents?
No, you see,
Because the real
let us
problem is
admit
really-
that society has a role to play in ensuring the well-being of.
Okay,
You are just
so-
taking the
all
lead
right.
on it.
So you're
Okay,
So-
and so I will
let's
expect
go on.
Joy
The-
FM.
Look, people
You know, I will expect Joy
palm
FM.
wine, right? During the year of return, as a national
Drink.
like product that we're proud of, and it's a Ghanaian thing. During the year of return, is that wrong? Was that wrong?
There
Then?
were certain hotels when you arrive, they welcome you.
Yeah.
with palm wine.
So was that wrong?
Was it an advertisement?
Of course it was. If you're saying to people, hey, this is a Ghanaian product,
I mean, because you have some of these international
Yeah.
stars advertising
Palm
or
wine-
put it on
palm
their
wine-
social
palm-
media pages.
I can pick palm wine right from the farm. It's not fermented. It's not alcoholic.
Hey,
Oh yes.
Yes,
See,
it's
so
not.
now we're
It's
going
not.
there.
It's not.
No, when it's not
I see.
fermented.
Okay,
when
but
it's
I-
fermented,
I
it becomes
see.
alcoholic.
George, you've had your turn. Mr. Quest, you've had your turn. Sadiq.
okay, so I mean, for me, I just wanted to find out from him if sometimes you fully understand the impacts of some of these decisions that you take on industries. I mean, because I get it that you made a point that I mean, you begin to regulate some of these things particularly when you know that it would have a certain negative social implication. In another way as well, some of these regulations that you're taking as well are beginning to have negative implications on the FMCG industry as well as other industries that they support.
You see,
So, for instance, I don't know if you have an idea the level of impact the FMCG space has on the media and entertainment industry, for instance, and such decisions has begun to affect revenues,
we cannot,
which will
put-
have
we
other
cannot-
social implications.
Sadiq, we
as well.
cannot put premium on the health of the Ghanaian consumer, and I don't think any one business is more important than the societal good. I get my point. And so, if society will have to stand up and then say that this particular industry,
But
is
societal
hurting-
good includes employment, mass
it
employment.
doesn't matter. I mean, other than that, stealing is a very good thing. Armed robbery is very good. You get money.
But these
from
are
it.
not two. I mean,
No,
it's
because
not comparable.
if it
apples
is
and
about
oranges here.
employment and not making money and all that, prostitution should be good. Why are we not
I've
talking
heard
about
that
that?
it is good, like
What?
you know.
That's what-
I've heard that it is good.
You've heard that it is good. Okay. And so the fact that industry will have to suffer for the benefit of the general society, the general good of everyone.
And this suffering.
Okay.
is-
And if you are talking about industry suffering, at times you may have to innovate, okay, to make up for whatever losses you are making from other areas. Probably they may have to think through other ways of promoting the product. Not necessarily. I mean, the fact that you want to advertise, do you always need to use certain persons to advertise? I'll give a typical example. There was one guy, is it Cash B? There's a guy called Cash B. No, Suarez. Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, he was advertising for one company, Abensio. Okay. The second time or the next time the advertisement came for review, it has to be taken out. Another person has to come in. At the end of the day, it's Abensio that you want to advertise. It is not Suarez who should necessarily have to be there. Are you getting my point?
No.
Yes, you are looking at the impact. That is why you want to use that particular person. That particular
No,
person.
no.
And we are saying that person, because of the entertainment industry that he finds himself in, he has influence over certain persons who we want to protect. But let us look at that.
And you cannot use this influence to protect the people by using the celebrities to tell these people not to use this product if they are not 18.
You see,
No,
it is not.
boss, hold
it
on. You
doesn't
see,
always
there's a reason
work out that way.
Coca-Cola picked Kaepernick for that advert.
Yes.
There was a reason Coca-Cola picked Kaepernick
Kaepernick.
for that
There was a
advert.
political-
You see, when you are doing in advertising, it's supposed to be impactful. You understand? If I want to pick Kwame Rasta to advertise my product, I have a reason for picking Kwame Rasta. And I feel, again, the point I'm making is that if the FDA can collaborate with these so-called popular people and these alcoholic beverage agencies, I think we can be able to come up with a better guideline that will be beneficial to each and everybody. All I'm saying is that it needs a second look, because one,
And even
you are taking money from people's
think about
pockets.
it.
You are making
You see,
people unemployed.
You've already given
Let's
a,
addict-
you've already given a guideline
let's
that
addict-
these
yeah,
commercials,
make it-
this commercial that should feature these celebrated people of influencers should play at certain times that kids are not supposed to be watching or listening to or consuming media. Right? You've already done that. So I'm at loss. Why would you? If that's the case, then let them use.
It's all part of the measures. Okay, it's all part of the measures to keep
No, but
them
the
away.
kids who you're trying to protect
No, it's
are
all
not
part-
supposed to be consuming media at that particular point in time when these influencers are supposed to be in this commercial.
There are several stages or several levels at which you can do that. Okay, one of them is to play the music, not to advertise at certain times. The other measure is that keep these people, these influential people, out of that particular space. Okay, I'll give you another example. Togo just sent notification across the ECOWAS sub-region, and I believe you definitely go to the WTO. They do not want alcoholic beverages to be packaged in a smaller units, plastics, the total pack, the 50 ml packs. Togo say don't do that. Why is Togo coming up with such a regulation? They've seen the abuse of the product, because when it's 50 ml, small packs like that, you can easily put it in your pocket. Kids are using it. Kids are drinking.
How are they buying it?
All you give them, how much is the product?
But
it's very
how-
cheap.
Why are they buying it?
how
Why are they buying it?
Yeah.
And this organization,
You see, you will not be able, if society was set up and every adult in the country would take it
Responsible.
upon himself and be that responsible. Okay? When we were growing up, who were those who were sent to go and buy application for our parents? Why would my father ask me to go and buy application? And as a result of getting exposed to application, I started drinking application at a very young age.
Is that your
no,
story?
not you. No, you're giving
Oh.
examples.
My story-
An example.
No,
That's an example.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I also have another story.
but you
not this
drink
is my
alcohol
story.
yourself?
But when I look
No,
at your face,
Oh, okay.
you know, I see it from the left side.
When you went to Russia,
You know,
Of all places in the world.
and the Russians will tell
Make it
you,
happen.
Davan Abu had, we're going to do it. And then he taps his throat and he tells you are going to
you're
drink.
doing everything right. The way you just
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
then
You
language.
get exposed
You
to.
are
I didn't drink
experienced,
anyway.
yeah.
No, but you made a point that you don't regulate event companies or media organizations. But so, on what basis are you then asking event companies to write to you?
We'll come
No,
to,
it's
we'll
not- it's
come to
not
the
the- not-
events.
not-
We're
not
talking
the
about
event
well-known persons now.
companies.
Rasta,
Is it-
you have the
or media-
final
media companies.
opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll come,
okay.
we'll come to events.
I am.
Oh, do you mind
Well,
if
let me
let,
finish
let me
my
pick up this
want to
one?
talk about the event
Yes,
companies?
it's not the event companies. We don't have businesses with event companies are not our clients.
Okay, we want to talk about
What-
well-known persons and finish it, and then we'll come to
Okay.
event and all of that.
Okay.
So let Rasta ask his question.
Okay.
Please, I would want to know. Even before that, I think that we are spending the time to a very dead end, ladies and gentlemen of the creative arts, because you see, Mr. Issa didn't come here to be schooled on anything. He came here because he needs to tell us what the Torah says, and that is it. We should go to our homes and stay alive. But whilst we are at it, I would want to find out. You see, the advertisers have a seat on your vetting committee. That's what you say.
Yes.
And rightly so.
Vetting or betting?
Vetting. Now,
Yeah, artists should.
so in that case, at that decision making level, they informed the results or whatever we are suffering or enjoying. Now, do you have anybody from a practitioner in the creative art space, especially since what the Torah says informs our fortunes to a very miserable end? Do you have anybody from our fraternity to?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, that's very kind of you to admit.
Vetting is creative as well.
You see, the reason we are, sort of picking on you, for want of a better word, is because we belong to a very poor sector in Ghana's economy. And
Who defines that?
me,
No, we know.
me.
I mean, we have the potential,
me.
but
I can
it's
show you
not-
how poor I am. You give me your salary for a very long time. So you see, and one of the major avenues that we use to, if one from our midst is having some endorsement deal of sorts with any beverage alcoholic, if you want,
You see-
it lessens our plight.
Let me just ask this. Are you saying that the only way you can make it is when you advertise for this alcoholic
You see, if
beverages?
we had
It's one of the
a
major
million
revenues.
and one
It's
ways.
one major
No,
earners.
Sadiq,
I see.
hold on,
Yeah, for the industry.
Sadiq.
In
You
this
see,
Ghana, we are drinking a lot.
but
not
we
necessarily drinking,
listen.
but in terms of
Before
advertisements.
the Europeans came, we were drinking serious doka here. Now, I am saying that if we have 1,000,001 ways of making money, and you take that one out of the million, you that have the powers to take away the one, it's really none of your business if we are spoiled for choice or we are not. Again, we rely on engagements and working endorsements from events, and believe you me, there are a plethora of specialized labor which are brought to bear on any event, TV, music, comedy, drama, theater. And if we are faced with a situation where they are not getting their money's worth, not at the expense of the health of the general populace, no. What Abuaji, for instance, is saying, George is saying is, please, you call me Richard. So please, let's engage. And that's why I wanted to cover my tracks, the basis, by confirming if indeed you guys had anybody from our side to inform, just to speak to our notes. So at this stage, because I have gauged your posture, which is very, from a position of power, which is okay. I mean, we would humbly request that engage us, invite us to have further conversations. I mean, Joy FM is not heaven where we cure illness.
The unfortunate thing is that you are not our clients.
No, but we are direct sufferers.
So I mean, you talk to whoever engages you.
No,
Mr. Esau, you see, Mr. Esau,
One house. George Quay, your microphone is off. All of your microphones are off. Let Rasta engage, Mr.
We
Esau.
have the numbers. We deal directly to the people that you seek to protect. We inform them or not. We are saying that take away, don't even take them away. We could come with them if you want. But when we get to the table, listen to us, because we have the numbers, we have the power, we have the population. I mean, between you and John Dumelu or Naa Ashorkor, you understand? Nobody knows you.
A lot of people know me.
Yes, in your house. You understand? By virtue of what they do, I mean, you get what my drift. We are only pleading humbly that we are direct sufferers of this directive, and it is in good. I mean,
it is fair.
Good intended and well-meaning and all that. Nobody wants to die. You understand? We don't want our kids to be junkies and drunks. No,
Unfortunately, this is what we are getting to.
No, we agree.
This is what we are getting to.
Can we sit, enjoy, and find a way that we can even help your cause? It's as simple as that.
All right, you can reach us on 0244-340-437 with your WhatsApp messages. 0244-340-437. Hello, Joy FM. Please ask this man from the FDA if he drinks alcohol himself. If yes, why does he do so? And that's from Alibi King.
He drinks only vodka.
He only drank vodka in Russia.
Good evening, have you noticed the trend where music videos are being used to subtly advertise alcoholic beverages or one company or another?
They are beating around it. There's also the issue of third-party advertisements from the
Hello,
continent.
I'd like to ask Mr. Esau from the FDA that if the celebrity doesn't run the adverts for such brands, the layman, non-celebrity, who is allowed to do the adverts, will eventually become a well-known person by doing the ad. So what happens to him?
Perfect case in point. Michael Power. Nobody knew who Michael Power was. Michael Power became an international star.
Let him answer the question.
Once you become a well-known person, we take you off.
And then you make another celebrity.
You see,
And then you make another celebrity.
let me say this. You see, this whole conversation, this whole conversation, and this whole episode of we or enterprise of we not allowing well-known persons to come on board and all that. I say this with tongue in cheek. It's as a result of, like I said from the beginning, the fact that industry has not been self-regulating. This beautiful thing that Rasta has put across, I mean, it's a very good suggestion. We can table it, bring it to the attention of authority, and then say, look at it. Can we use these persons to champion our cause?
This is a no-brainer based on your own guidelines. That should be the go-to first thing that should happen. Is these guys have a lot of influence, and we know you're trying to do a good
the
thing.
initial influence that they were having was a negative one.
But okay, can I ask a question, please, sir?
No. Oh yes.
No, but George, when this was drafted, social media wasn't as big, right? When this was drafted,
I wish you could see. I wish you could see
influences on the boards.
Yeah.
I wish you could see some of the things that some of
There were certain direct evidences or
cases.
I really want to mention
No, don't mention the
because
brand.
the brand and all
but
that.
speak about
But when you
cases.
see an artist on stage, okay,
Given a call.
at a festival, at a function, and it's being sponsored by an alcoholic beverage company, and he has brands, I mean samples of the products, and as he's playing, he gives them out, irrespective of who's receiving it. I mean, are we concerned about this?
No, but if the event is for adults,
Exactly.
if the event is for adults,
I'm talking about,
night,
I'm talking about a festival. I'm talking about
nighttime festival.
my Akwambo festival in my village, right?
At what time of day is this event?
I'm talking about. I'm talking.
event.
Yeah, daytime event.
That's irresponsible. I agree with
That's irresponsible.
Yes,
Yeah,
you understand me?
definitely.
And so when all these things are put together,
Do you reach out to us, tell us that this is wrong, we shouldn't?
exactly.
Do you
these
have
are the
cases
things.
of
These
you
were the
flouting
things.
those
These were
laws?
You are
the
not their
things.
clients.
These were the things that we discussed with the
Artist?
not the artists. We are talking
The
about
clients. The clients. The
industry
industry
players.
The owner, okay.
The owner.
But how do you test
Okay.
this law? Have you taken people to court on this? Have you prosecuted
Penalties.
anyone? Has anything happened?
Oh, we've slapped. You see, there are two. The sanctions are comes in different ways.
Okay.
I can withdraw your application. It's a sanction.
What application?
Application what?
A market authorization.
To operate.
To operate.
For the FMCGs,
I can slap administrative charges on you.
Because
It's
a
sanction.
celebrity held my drink in their music, their
But
Instagram video.
you sponsored. We found out that you sponsored that program, and we found out that you gave those drinks out to be given out to
No,
people.
but it's the event managers. It's not the brands that
No,
regulate
the brand decided
the
to
stage.
sponsor.
So if I have an event, for instance,
An
and
event.
Guinness is my sponsor,
Yes.
what I shouldn't do is that we shouldn't get the artist to get on stage to throw it out.
So when
No, no,
you
no, no,
write
let me
a
read
law,
from the
it
presenters.
Let me read something for you. Alcoholic beverage companies providing sponsorship shall not sell, offer as prizes, give out samples of their products, and or distribute promotional materials to participants of program organized for persons below the age of 18 years.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's
if I
fair.
have an event
Yeah.
and I have such persons who are below 18 years coming into the program, and then these are things that I have. I'm the alcoholic beverage manufacturer, and I have samples of these products. The only thing I can do is to give out my products.
Sample.
See, the essence of any advertisement is for people to try your product, people to use your product, people to buy your product.
But you qualify
And
the
we are,
fact that
we are
not
saying
below
that
18 years.
Yes, and so if it is an event where people below 18 years are participants of that program, then you should be very careful. And this brings us to the point where we say that if this is what you want to do, if you want to go and then sponsor a program of that nature, you as our client, not the media house or the event organizer, you are client, the FDA client, who is the manufacturer. Talk to us. Tell us what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay? Not
But
quite.
I
Not
feel like
quite.
the best way for the artist to get the message is to engage with the artist directly, as well as engaging with.
Let
brand.
the brand owners come with the artist. We don't have a problem who is coming on board.
Because you know
The
at
most
the
important thing
moment,
is that I am dealing with you. You are my responsibility. I have to ensure that you do things and do it right. Okay? We are where we are talking about all these things because of the impact, the financial impact that these regulations is having on your
If
operations.
your concern really is with the populace and the children and
I
how
wish-
to keep
I wish-
them
I wish
safe,
that-
why don't you embark on some kind of a civic education
I wish-
drive so that even the bar owners, even the store attendants, all these people will be conscientized about the dangers of children drinking alcohol,
No.
and so that you have a holistic. Because even if the alcoholic beverage company does not come and distribute these things, there are people who come in their cars
we do it.
to events and festivals and distribute these things. You know that.
We do it, and I'm saying we're starting from somewhere. As of now, our focus is on the media and what have you. We've had, I will take a typical example, like the tobacco issue. If I can show you pictures of where we've gone to schools, primary schools, secondary schools, to engage them, about tobacco abuse and the tobacco use and all that. This tramadol thing that came up and all. At a point in time, anybody could just get tramadol. Why all of a sudden we're regulating it? We're saying that you cannot do.
You think your regulation did it? It was well-known people.
It was Nanaba and Namwa.
Yes, we
can
took up
we
them.
can
and
take a
the
budget.
same people
We
who are
can
taking
take
the
the budget from the-
budget from
we can take the budget from the FDA. And as part of our programming, we put the social advocacy part of it.
Yes.
So we should go to the FDA for the budgets now.
You see, Mr. Esau,
And then we'll run the education.
one major takeout from this conversation,
Yes.
which we should all agree, is that we need to work together.
Yep.
Precisely.
We need to sit and work together
and
and,
I'm happy
find
for the
a
first
way.
time. Okay, we have media discussion where the media is not telling us that for us we want our money.
No,
And so
that's
you don't-
that's
no, no,
the-
no,
no.
we
We're,
are socially
we're
responsible.
yeah, we're
But
so
we have sense.
this tramadol thing you speak of. I hope you realize that
There was a same
the
well-known
reason that the
people that were actually
tramadol
living before.
campaign
Yeah.
was effective, and more people turned, you know,
Okay.
started using
So
it.
what,
Because
I'm going to charge you to do
point in
something.
case the number and
Yes.
I'm going to charge you to do something. Can you come with somebody? Can you start? No. As part of your social responsibility, okay. Can you start this positive thing about alcohol abuse? And let's see how it travels. How it travels.
No. Before, no, that's not a way to go.
I think I'm only asking you.
What we are saying is that, Mr. Essel,
I want to demonstrate.
I'll come and
Some
visit you.
companies would associate with us because
Yes.
when you come and sue.
And you,
No, you're not mentioning a lot of mentioning
companies
alcoholic beverage.
have
What you are saying is that
towards that.
Is that
Guinness,
so?
for instance, have
do.
Okay,
all
we
these
can't talk at the same time, guys.
needs
I think I had the company to sponsor. He has three music awards.
No, don't let any alcohol company sponsor it.
And then bring
If
your
you
salary
have-
because you see, and your pension too, because he needs the
No,
money.
but you
to
said
pay
you
to-
also want social good, and so as part of your social
I didn't
responsibility.
say that.
All right, I'm going to read some messages now because we are all talking at the same time and our listeners cannot hear us. Your microphone is off, Mr. Essel. Good evening, Naa. I'd like to. Okay, so this is a question from Johnson from Koforidua, which I already read. Thank you, Johnson. That's a brilliant question. More questions coming in. Naa, if people knew what alcohol has done to some people will not fight the government on the control of alcohol. And that's from Ben. Thank you, Ben, for sending that in. What's your story, Ben? Do share with us. This is Kojo. I love the show. Keep it up. Thank you, Kojo, for the message. More messages coming in. Good evening, Naa. I'd like to ask Mr. Essel, Naa, are you guys saying that because of social media, we should stop people from irresponsibly advertising products? People come to multimedia because they find it's a responsible medium to advertise, and therefore we can prevent such acts that can kill innocent people if you guys just play a role. Tell Abuaji to come again, and that's from CBU. And that's from CBU. Thank you for sending that in. Hello, Naa. Teens who start using alcohol are likely to lose their manhood by their 40s, and that's from Pani. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pani. 0244-340-437 is a number to reach us on via WhatsApp. 0244-340-437. Maybe I'll activate the phone lines. I don't know. But let's see. Anyway, so event organizers have to seek permission from the FDA. All right, sponsors of events. All right, tell us what it is.
What we're saying that if an industry that is regulated by the FDA, alcoholic beverage industry, regulated by the FDA, wants to sponsor an event, okay, and most importantly, where the event will be attended by persons who are not legally allowed to drink. Okay, that one you cannot even sponsor it.
Will be
Okay.
or could be.
Where they
Let's allow
could
Mr.
be-
Essel to
take a
speak.
festival,
I'd
for
appreciate
example.
it if nobody, no interjection. Sadiq, no interjection.
Take a festival, for example. I mentioned Akwambo or mentioned Abuachi, a social event of that nature. It is very difficult to say that you're excluding this kids. They'll be there.
It's community based.
But because of the possibility that these guys should be there, and we don't want them to be exposed to alcoholic beverage or at that age, tell us how your sponsorship,
The nature of
the sponsorship. Okay, we've had one quite recently. It is a total beverage company. They produce drinking water, they produce fizzy drinks, they produce strong alcohol. And we're going to run an event, football gala for colds in the community. But it wasn't any of those other brands, but the strong alcohol brand that was sponsoring the program.
Because there was a lead, it was their lead brand.
That's the lead brand. Okay, if they had not come to discuss with us, they would have gone ahead, and that will be an infringement on the law of the law
of the guideline.
of the guidelines. And so it is important that you engage us. Let us understand. Let us guide you. We don't want a situation where you will go and falter, and then we come in and then we say that you've done the wrong thing. So just discuss with us. It will be proper for us to guide you to do the right thing than to leave you go do the wrong thing and then we come after you. It doesn't help us.
How often do you hold seminars, workshops, sensitization programs between yourself and the?
As in, have you done it?
You know, do you how?
I think he's answered that already. The industry isn't his client.
Yeah. No. I'm not talking about
It's not
ASO.
the client.
I'm talking about the alcoholic beverage manufacturers. Those because
They're in constant
if
touch
you
with them.
hold regular workshops, seminars, you know, how often do you
I'll
hold
tell
them?
you one that is coming up this first quarter.
Okay.
The last
So
one,
is this
I
something
cannot
you do
recall.
often, though?
No,
they do.
yeah, I mean we have several stakeholders, and so
What was the
it is
last
not.
one?
I don't want to
I know they often
hazard any
have
answer.
military officers.
You don't
within
remember?
I don't want
organizations.
to because I don't
You don't want to
recall.
hazard a guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me give you one that is going to come up, and most likely the subject has to do with the kinds of names that alcoholic beverage industries are now adopting for their products.
Oh, we'll have a show on that.
Okay,
The names are.
and if you follow the trend,
Betty, Bokeke.
all of them are something suggestive.
Not all.
No, majority of them.
What does Wobeti suggest?
You will hear.
Chadie.
I don't understand.
That's a
Nice being
It's peaceful.
I'm
No,
not-
she's not being
I'm not
mischievous,
being
and I agree with her.
Like,
You mean the slang?
All of them.
The informal translation of it.
Well, Amega
Yeah.
and Pokeke means take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy. Peace.
It's you mean
the
very interesting.
informal
I'll tell you what it means.
The
What I mean
street
by when
translation of
they are
it.
becoming suggestive. We have abused our phrases or the language.
The
To a
streets.
point that yes, every statement that you make today has something to do with sex.
Which is the weirdest that you've heard?
I don't
Okay.
know what.
So is
Which
it
is the
Pokeke?
weirdest
You
that
mean-
you've heard?
So is it Pokeke? We need
How
sex.
does it
as in
connote
meaning
sex?
go slow.
it's
Yes.
I'm
Go
confused.
slow.
If I have a drink,
Conny,
that's
you're
right.
Trusting,
That's
go
right.
slow.
What would you? What is right?
Conny, your
Depends on how you're saying it. If it is,
That's rabbit. You see, I get your point, but I think
The unfortunate thing is that most of these
you see, I mean,
most of these alcoholic beverages.
you can interpret
they
any
pick-
word to be.
No, they pick the names.
Specialize
Joy.
No, they pick the names. They pick the names as a result of what is
open
involved.
fire.
I
Okay,
understand.
they pick these names as a result.
Joy
Define
what type of
going
joy?
on.
Joy Daddy.
particular
Mr.
artist,
SOE,
yes.
Are you not the ones who approve these names?
Oh, you see, that's what I'm saying.
Better than
that.
approved
That's what
by
I'm
the
saying.
FDA.
Thank you.
Better than approved by the
Better than approved by the-
There is a stakeholder meeting coming up. This is becoming a trend,
But you approve
and so
it.
now you're not getting me.
So the things that become trends usually.
We find it very difficult. Just as you were trying to tell me that you're a guy, and then Pokeke means
Peace.
The peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't mean anything. But let's
On the
give
streets.
on the
It means-
streets
it means
it could have a different
Even
interpretation.
joy can have a different.
You know,
You can sexualize anything.
Even
Any
Jesus,
word
you
can
and
be-
so
Jesus.
No blasphemy.
No, I'm saying it
blasphemy.
could be. I'm saying
This is the Jesus that
It cannot be.
the lady that saved somebody's number on the phone, sweet Jesus.
and I'm not blaspheming, but you know, just to be clear, I'm not blaspheming. I'm a Christian. I play gospel music, but I'm saying people could make anything out of anything.
But
See,
that's not the internet.
where-
That's name you had heard.
Oh, it's very difficult for me.
All right, 0302-216-541 is the number to reach us on. 0302-216-541. Please call us. Your microphones are off, my dear gentlemen. Please call us. We'd like to hear from you. 0302-216-541. Good evening, Joy FM. Nice discussions going on in your studios. This man has really done well with his answers, I should say. Answering all of your panelists' questions, I'm convinced that there must be stricter regulations to protect the health of the public. All right, thank you for sending that. You didn't send your name in. Good evening now to you and your panelists. Alcohol is addictive with multiple side effects. It affects almost every single organ of your body. Alcohol can cause diabetes, and it has the risk factor for hypertension. So please add the number of people dying from diabetes and hypertension to the list of those dying from alcohol-related disorders, and allow the FDA to do its work. And that's from Felicia from Tema. Hello.
Hi, Ma.
Hi. What's your name?
This is Richard.
Vincent.
Richard.
Hi, Richard. You're live.
Yes, thank you. Now, I support the man in your studios. For one reason. I mean, before, we used to hear all these adverts on our airwaves. And all the drinks, or the alcohol drinks that we used to hear, it's all about sex. Today, you wake up in the morning, you don't hear anything. If it's not like 8 or 9 in the evening, you don't get to hear it, even on our TVs. So for me, yes, it is. And when you said Nana Adnamwa helped with your, what do you call it, the tramadol stuff, just imagine if Nanaba is advertising an alcoholic drink, what will happen? So I think they should do it and do it well. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for your call. More messages coming in. Frankie Dixon says, every statement you make has a sexual connotation today. The FDA man has a point. Bieja and Pokeke. That's why my friend Randy Dick did the Gazette and changed his name to Frankie Dixon. All right. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. What's your name?
My name is Sam. I'm coming from Kamishi.
All right. You're on air.
Yeah, I want to ask the man. What happens to those, let me say, his alleged or so-called clients or customers who go to the markets? There's a program on telly that I saw somebody promoting Uber tea in the course of quiz or something, and he was asking small girls from school at Katamantu. He saw the children coming from school. He stopped them and was quizzing them with that product. So what happens to such a product? Or let me say, what happens when such incidents happen?
All right. Thank you so much. Let's pick a couple of calls and then you can answer. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi. What's your name?
Yes, Nukapo from Coco Memory.
All right. You're live.
Yes, I want to, first of all, before I ask my question, I say what I want to say. I want to find out from the FDA man the composition of the body that made the law, because I have a follow up on it when I'm clear, when he answers me.
All right. Thank you so much for that. More calls coming in. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Bafo.
All right, Bafo. You're live.
Yeah, please, I want to ask Mr. Issa a question. Hello?
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I heard about music videos. You see, in music videos, sometimes they portray those kind of alcoholic beverages. Is that one too form of advertisement, and what are they doing about that? Because even in the recent video of Kofi Kinata, there was some two alcoholic beverages that was portrayed in there. I want to ask, is that one too a form of advertisement or what?
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Those are all the calls we can pick up today. Thank you. All right, more messages coming in. Beer is also an alcoholic drink. Please tell us. Okay. Anyway, hello now. I support the endorsement of the FDA by advertising companies. As a consumer, it assures me that the product has passed all the standard checks by the FDA, hence endorsing their advert. As a food and beverage producer, it will boost my sales when people feel safe to buy the products because it's FDA certified. And that's from Portia. Thank you for your message, Portia. All right. We have 6 minutes to go. Mr. Essel, I'm going to, let you answer the two questions that were posed to you. One on music videos. So you answer that one.
Well, with the music videos, like I said, each of these things, as they come up, we have to carefully analyze them to see whether it was not deliberate or was it something that
Like product placement paid.
Things of that nature. And we've questioned a number of them. There was an incident where a lady was, I think, a private party. She claimed it was a private party, and then she was inviting her friends to the private party, and this is the product we are going to drink, and it's an alcoholic beverage, and she happens to be a well-known person. How do I tell whether she did this deliberately, or she was paid to do it, or, and so all these things come up, and then we have to investigate. We don't just get up and slap administrative charges or apply other sanctions, what have you. And so with the case of the Kofi Kinata one, for example, I think it's been investigated, and that is why it will still play, and then nobody has.
Yeah.
Okay, but when it happens a second time, it happens a third time.
Yeah.
But other people, because we are not oblivious of what all the tricks, the gray areas that the industry wants to capitalize on.
But based on what you said, I feel like with the grey areas, I'll just give you a very quick example. You can have an artist who's completely and I'm just supporting what you're saying. You can have an artist that's completely unknown today. They can have a product placement. You won't go after them because they're unknown, right? Based on your regulations, they can get one retweet by someone who's got millions and millions of followers. Literally within an hour, they become famous, and now you have to like run after them and play catch up. That's why you need artists on the board. That's why you need to work with the artists, because there's certain things that, let's be frank, are a little bit archaic, not in a disrespectful way, but it's just social media and stuff like that is moving so quickly. We all agree with what you're saying. We all want to help, but I feel like you need to work with the artists.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's a laudable idea.
Hold on, Mr. Essel. Yeah, Rasta.
I'd want to applaud the Ghana Police Service for having decriminalized the opium smoking of marijuana. A case in point when they shielded Popcorn, Jamaican artist, and he was smoking his weed, and they were there, and everybody Popcorn was okay. That party.
All right, thank you.
So I wish them, I thank them very much. God bless them.
Where from? Okay, Sadi.
I mean, for me, I think that the call that we should collaborate more is very good. I think that a number of us as well who want to be socially responsible, so working with the FDA to work around some of this is very important. But I think that when they are making some of these decisions, they also need to be mindful of the impact that it has on industry as well. It's very important to be able to keep industries up.
For me, the guidelines need a relook. I think society is dynamic. Things are changing. Times are changing. Our kids are watching cartoons today on their iPads and tablets, and alcoholic beverage ads pop up in the middle of the cartoons that they are watching. So yes, so the guidelines need, and we can do it if we collaborate. We need to work together.
Thank you so much, Josh. Mr. Essel, you have the final.
Well, thank you very much, Naa, for having me. This is version 2 of the guidelines. If you had a version 1. So I mean, dynamism is there, and then the possibility of we taking a second look is possible.
All right.
Okay, because once you apply the law, you allow the law to operate for some time, and then see the impact, and then you can come back and then say that look, this is irrelevant. We need to strengthen it and do this and do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Essel.
You all for having us.
It's been amazing having you, and thank you, Rasta. Thank you, Mr. Quest. Thank you, Sadiq, George Quay. This show has been produced by Philip Nye and George Quay. Selwyn has been on the social media desk. And my highest paid DJ Wobete. Wobete will have to answer to the meaning of his name and the impact it has on children who consume his music. My name is Naa Ashorkor, and this has been ShowbizAtoZ live on Joy 99.7 FM. Up next is the news. Do stay tuned.